Jumping on Giant TV. Got two incredible guests today. Got Mickey Peters, who's a Vistage chair working with dynamic CEOs, and I've got Eric Langley, who's an innovation and AI expert traveling across the country advising businesses. We got together and got into the weeds on AI and businesses. You're going to love this episode. Let's go check it out. Hi everybody, this is Paul Hitchcock. Welcome to Giant TV. I am the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media and really excited for my two guests here today. I have an incredible Vistage chair, Mickey Peters, who's doing some great things we're going to hear from here in a minute. And I have Eric Langley, who is the leader of his own consulting company, an innovation expert, also very much focused on AI. Welcome, both of you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, Mickey, let's start with you and tell us what you're building there at Vistage and some of the folks you're working with and where you're spending your time.
Thanks, Paul. So yeah, I'm a Vistage chair here in Houston. I've spent my career in the power generation sector. I ran businesses that built, owned, and operated power generation assets, mostly in South America. I was based out of Latin America for 10 years, so speak Spanish, speak Portuguese. And a real game changer for me was being a part of a peer advisory group. And it really helped me in managing my business and having a group I could go to and get support from and get advice. And it's really something that I personally benefited from. And so it was a natural progression to them becoming a Vistage chair. And so the group that I'm leading here in Houston is a very diverse group. I have a Jamaican American, a Pakistani American, Indian American, first generation, really taken the American dream and really run with it.
Great, yeah.
So they have their own businesses now. They're in running a nonprofit business, a manufacturing business, a precision metal casting. One is a managing partner in an architecture firm that specializes in auto dealerships. So very diverse group, both industry, have a male-female, good male-female mix. And so really amazing group of business owners and CEOs that are really taking advantage of Vistage and what it has to offer.
Yeah, no, I love it. I know you and I have talked a lot offline. You're getting together on a regular basis monthly with all of those leaders. And maybe you have some seats available. Who would you like to get in there?
Yeah, looking for somebody from the marketing, with a marketing background, legal, basically people that are self-aware and generous with their time and with their experience, and really looking to get the right type of people, really, and from a diverse background. We don't have any competition within the group to make it a safe place for people to share. But really, much more important is the individual themselves and that they show up and really add value to the group, but also get value as well for themselves, their business, their family, and community.
Yeah, and I know you have your thumb on the pulse of what's important for the leaders you're working with. And of course, AI is being talked about everywhere. Vistage is all over it, doing some great things. I know, you've mentioned it's come up in your groups. And so this gets us into Eric. And let's jump into the AI side of things. Eric, enlighten us, please.
Yeah. I mean, Mickey's, statement about the diversity of his group, both on a personal and a business level, is really great. And I think AI, when you think about what the possibilities are for AI, it can really have an impact on all of those different types of industries. And even within those industries, every single component of a business can be touched by AI and be improved. If we start talking about, like a Japanese Kaizen, moment here and say, little continuous improvements. Well, AI can do that, but it also can do really exponential improvements. And, most people join Vistage because they want to grow their businesses. They want to make their businesses easier to run, and AI can do both of those things.
Yeah, Mickey, you were bringing up some issues as we were talking offline. You want to jump into some of those about AI and what you've discovered with your members?
Yeah, so we've had two AI speakers in the last year, and the basic takeaway was, as Eric said, has a lot of potential to reduce cost, make things more efficient. But overall, for my members, it was more of a, not now, not at this time for their core business. And so they're sort of in the, implement around the fringes and then the back office and monitor and try to follow the developments so that when the time is right for them to really step up their AI investment and involvement in their business, they're ready. They're on top of it. They see it coming, and they're ready to do that. And so that's the what resources to spend, how to spend it, how to monitor and watch it, follow it in a way that they're not dedicating too much time and energy, but they are really following it efficiently, and they're on top of it.
Yeah, Mickey, I would say that when you think about AI, kind of the basic use cases, the most basic use cases, because we've all become aware of AI, more aware. It's been around for about 10 or more years now, since 2012, roughly. But now ChatGPT has that, given the awareness to everybody. So even getting everybody in the company just to use ChatGPT and having them have a basic understanding of it seems to be a little bit of a hurdle. Then if you go on beyond that basic use, where I get into the strategic use of AI, where you start talking about, well, where do we want the business to be in 2 to 3 years? And where are we now? And how can AI help us fill that gap and integrate in with our strategy to move us forward? That's a significant undertaking. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you're going to
Hmm.
have a strategic plan and execute that plan, it takes time, it takes resources, but mostly it takes commitment. People have to be committed in the organization. The leadership has to be committed, and those are the places that I work. So my clients have typically been our Vistage members, or
Hmm.
maybe EOS. They're in an EOS program, and they have a very defined plan of what they want to accomplish, and they have a focus on innovation. And anytime you see somebody that's in that mode, they're really in a great place to benefit from AI, because they're ready to take action.
And so, in terms of just so they have the strategy, but then does each individual, the legal area, the operating area, that have
Yeah.
their own staff and themselves invested in going to conferences or staying up and reading the literature, and have maybe some resources, some consultants supporting them as well?
Yeah.
What does their support structure look like to make sure they're implementing it
Right. Yeah. I
well?
mean, so when you talk about all those things, and especially strategic terms, I mean, it helps to have a model for what you're going to be doing. Now, I personally use a model called six deltas or five developed deltas, depending on how many we combine. But I like to think in terms of, even internally, if you're a company, you can use this type of a model. And I call it discovery and documentation. So, what do we have right now? And let's get that documented from a big level, from a high level of processes and what
Hmm.
systems are in place. And then the next delta, which delta stands for change in velocity, would be doing a diagnosis. Do we have opportunities here? What do those opportunities look like? You may be able to figure out those internally, but it doesn't hurt to have, an expert come in, either at process development, certainly with some AI, because process development's been around for a long time, but now we have smart automation. We're not just logically automating, we're smart automating things. So things that we used to have to do, like write an email for everything that took place in the business, we don't have to do that anymore. That is something that AI can do for us, as long as it's a pretty standardized thing. Like when we're onboarding a customer, write a conversational email with that new customer or employee, for that matter. What do they need to know? And you can actually ask questions with the AI. And that takes stakeholder experience, which I call everybody in the organization: employees, customers, vendors, shareholders. Everybody can then have a conversation with the business and get answers. That's a really compelling argument to be strategic and implement those types of tools.
So you're talking about, what I hear you saying is, like, each of the functional areas. Okay, what are probably everybody at least has some level of processes implemented, and
Mhm.
hierarchy, chain of command, and who's, the roles and responsibilities. And so sit back and look at all of those and try to understand where human, whether it's writing emails or drafting memos or legal documents, what tools and resources are available to start to come in and take
Yeah.
those things off their hands so then they can
Yeah.
do more value added activities.
You got it. And the best example, or one of the best examples I can give, is I've got a construction company client that deals with bid documents, plans, and an extensive document. And actually, the extensive document is the one that has the gotchas in it. So what we're doing is we're automating reading those documents, intaking those into the generative AI system, and then producing a report, a summary of what that is, and then laying out all the divisions of the things that they need to do. And then they can query that document with chat. So it's like, well, how many, of this do I have, or how many of that do I have? The AI can calculate those things and bring those out as answers. That's a powerful tool for really saving many hundreds of hours per year in labor and doing estimates and bidding. That's just one application in the company. There are multiple of those big applications, but that's what I would call, a game changer for them because they can do more bids per year. You've got more opportunity for business now.
I got a quick question because I'm
Yeah.
confused about something that Mickey said. So I know Eric, you've been in front of other Vistage, members and their businesses, and we've got feedback from some chairs. It's been unreal, and the whole, the CEO and the executive management team is so fired up after talking with you about the opportunities going forward with innovation, automation. When I think about automation, AI, and all that, I can't learn fast enough for the businesses I'm involved with. I can think of 500 applications all over the place. And these are disparate businesses, not just sales and marketing, law firm, and other technical firms. I'm like, my God, I could see we're implementing over here. So when Mickey says all these businesses says, oh, not now, but maybe down the road, I don't get that. Is it that they're, Mickey, what was going on there where aren't they communicating with their clients? I mean, aren't they nurturing? Aren't they, it just doesn't add up to me.
Well, I think what I'm referring to is maybe like, for example, a member who has vacation rentals. And so he's looking for a reservation and or a reservation system or something to manage his maintenance. And it was either what he looked at the time was either too costly or, it wasn't something that was a good fit. And so, with people, I think in general looking for is something when they start off is something that is in their core business and is like a wow factor, right? Wow, this is going to make a huge difference and in my business or in my eliminating costs. And so when that's maybe there's not something that's cost effective today for that specific issue, but like you're talking about, well, what about drafting emails and they kind of, I don't know if they lose interest or they're like, well, okay, but they're not so energized by that initially.
And
And
Mickey,
so, but what I hear Eric say is all of this isn't like, oh, let's let IT or a consultant kind of monitor it and then check in with them periodically.
Yeah.
All of the different functional areas really need to uh, take it on themselves and really invest the time to figure out where and how they can implement it to just take their resources, their most valuable resource, their people, and use it to take things off their plate that are tedious and cumbersome, but take a lot of time and free them up for more value added. Is that
exactly.
right, Eric?
Exactly. Mickey, I think the crux of this is that, it's a sea change. I have the tsunami behind me that's coming of AI. It's a sea change and people are leery of that. And what happens when there's so much opportunity, like Paul mentioned, where like, hey, I could think of 500 things. Well, what happens then is you just get overwhelmed
Yeah.
and you're not sure where to start.
Yeah.
And so it can really be helpful. Imagine you go to a foreign country, that's completely different from your culture, and you're just lost. You don't speak the language, you don't know what to do. And how valuable is a guide that cares about you and wants you to, have the best possible time visiting that country? That's basically what I do in the very beginning is guiding helping people get to the decision through the decision-making process of where to start, how to continue, how to get to the future, and get in the weeds and get it done, not just like guide, but actually get involved. So it's helpful to help. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
build it
no,
on your
that's
own.
Yeah.
Self-diagnosing your medical condition is possible, but gosh, it really helps to go to the doctor sometime and just get what you need.
Yeah.
well, and I think that that guidance, I mean, a lot of times people read a negative story or they hear of somebody who made a mistake and it cost them, sometimes we have too much information out there and people are reading a one-off situation. Well, I mean, I just talked to a lawyer the other day and he said he heard about the time when a lawyer tried to use our chat GPT to generate some cases and it made up some cases, and so therefore
Oh,
they've decided they're not going to implement. Well,
yeah.
that's a one-off case, and maybe
Yeah.
that's not something. If you talk to the other 10,000 law firms that are implementing it, it
Mhm.
might have a more balanced
For
view.
sure.
But so yeah, I think that what you're describing and being able to kind of be a guide for somebody to how to look at the each functional area and what tools and resources are available to help them start to move forward on AI in general
Exactly.
and see the benefits, and then it just probably is a
Well,
momentum.
I like to call it land and expand. So you build a minimum viable product. You start in a very specific space doing something that's going to create as much value as possible in as little complexity and time as possible. And then you expand that out and start to look for well, can we also use this over here? Can we use it over here? And you just keep creating more value. I mean, there's so much opportunity. It's literally just like shooting fish in a barrel right now.
And so compared to something off the shelf versus something that's create that you create in house, is it mostly stuff that's available today and or that you adapt a little bit to fit the business, or what's your experience been there?
Exactly, Mickey. And that's a strategic question, right? Are we going to go, build our own thing, using a platform? We have these really amazing platforms that are available now called low code or no code platforms where we can build our own apps. People can build their own apps to access their data and work with it. Or are we going to use, like a more traditional off the shelf or very specific app that it does a certain thing? There's always a place for that, but I think in the end there's no holy grail. There's no one application you're going to buy. Everybody likes to say that, come here, you get everything. If you do, you're going to be making adjustments to your business to meet that model. And sometimes it's just easier to create something on your own, which is very easy to do nowadays, and maybe
Mm.
even in conjunction with that off the shelf app. So you've got a lot of choices that can be made and strategically need to be made as to which direction you want to go in. And those have to be done, on a bespoke basis. Every business has to decide what's best for them.
Yeah.
And
I
so
like,
when
yeah.
go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just going to say real quick that I see your role as an architect,
Hmm.
Eric, and like when you're building a house, you got to have the plans, visual, see it, so you can make decisions on what you're going to do. I think it's the same thing with AI. You got to have an architect, give me the blueprint, and then, what can I do? And then
Hmm.
if I see it, then you can start to make strategic decisions about
Yeah.
do this, do this. Maybe this one's 5 years down the road, maybe this one's tomorrow. But I think that initially, with so much crap going on in AI right now and trying to figure it out, that blueprint is golden.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mickey and Paul, I grew up, my dad was a business owner. One of the businesses was a car dealership, a used car dealership. And kind of the term that you use in that thing is, you can't sell two cars. Right? You cannot sell them two cars. You got to get on a car and then you can sell the car. So you got to I think you got to narrow it down to that first implementation, get some
Yeah.
success, get a quick win. Everybody feels more comfortable. They're using it, especially if you can get it used across the company. Yeah, that's a big deal.
And so if you do it, if the whole idea of developing your own app, I think for a lot of people sounds like, whoa, that sounds, and
Crazy.
what you're saying is it's not. But then in terms of actually then updating it and maintaining it, and is that fairly people have the nightmare with the big ERP systems, then you got to call
Yeah.
SAP or Accenture to come in and pay them another whatever to
Yeah.
update it and adapt it. I mean, what's been your experience there?
Yeah, I think the common misconception about AI systems is they're really expensive to implement. And the reality is they're not. ChatGPT is not expensive to use. And, designing systems around it with the platforms that I'm talking about that we have now are easy to use. Yeah, there can be some coding involved, but people used to build whole applications, for their businesses from scratch. And we don't
Yeah.
have to do that anymore. So I think the game has changed as far as that's concerned. It's a lot easier and easier to maintain because you can natural language change the way it works because of generative AI, and that's a powerful thing.
And this is somewhat
Wow.
anecdotal. I'll bring this up because I know Eric, I mentioned it before, is like these chatbots, they are insane. And you hear, I'm going to have a chatbot. Whoa, 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 that's insane. How do you do that?
Yeah.
And I got one on things that the team constantly answering questions over and over and over on the same things,
Yeah.
important things. The team's not available. There's a lag time with clients. It's a big deal. People are getting pissed off and frustrated because they want answers. To train this chatbot, first of all, it's not expensive at all. Secondly, it's a drag and drop thing. You drag your document, drop it into the chatbot. It's trained in a matter of 45 seconds and ready to answer questions. It's that easy, uploading documents. So anecdotal, I got it going. It's been eye-opening. Chatbot.
Yeah, and that's a great customer experience gain, right? So now the
Great.
customer's happy, your team is happy. They're not doing mundane things now. They get to concentrate on meaningful things, creating content, getting clients for their businesses. It's a win-win.
Yeah, and I just go to I go back to what business on the planet isn't answering questions for clients? You know, I mean, why
Yeah.
every business
Yeah,
could have a
yeah,
chatbot. So
yeah.
anyways, yeah.
Yep.
No, that's a great example. And I think that's, to kind of let go of old, because it's changing so fast, and the simplification and ease of access, and tailor made, and it just seems almost too good to be true. So people kind of go, whoa, that sounds, too easy, too. But really, this is what I'm hearing is it is real, it is true, it is happening, and so people need to kind of let go of the one-off story, or the old bad experiences with systems, and you need to hire a bunch of programmers or contract with an expensive consultant to come in and implement it and then follow it and maintain it, and you're in this huge black hole of
Mhm. Yeah,
spend that never ends and
Yeah.
continues to grow. And that's not the case here.
yeah.
No, well, this is great. I mean, I know we could talk forever about this. There's so much going on. And I want to tell everybody listening, because we're going to live stream this. It's going to go out there in a bunch of different places. Is Mickey and Eric have partnered on a complimentary AI assessment, and it is great. You get a chance to get one-on-one with both of them. We're doing this on Zoom. Wherever you're watching this, you're going to be able to get access to that around this video. And so take advantage of that. As I said before, Eric's done it, and feedback has been insanely positive. And so make sure you take advantage of that. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, Eric. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely.